Hi, my name is Dr. L Lipkis, and I am a physician, author, and professor. And today we're going to talk about memories. I'm going to give you 3 easy tips for a better memory. There isn't a lot of preparation. This isn't going to be hard. This is just going to be simple, easy tips that you can institute in your life right away. Okay, so Alzheimer's disease is a major disease across the United States, and the death rates are increasing. Now, Alzheimer's makes up 80% of all the reasons why people get demented or experience mental decline. You can see that other particular diseases such as AIDS, stroke, heart disease, prostate cancer, and breast cancer are decreasing in incidence, but Alzheimer's disease, unfortunately, is increasing. So, one of the things that we want to do is to give you 3 memory tips that can be helpful for you in improving your memory and maybe even preventing this horrible disease. Okay, let's go with memory tip number 1, a fishy supplement. And this is called the Mind Study. And what it was is a large group of elderly patients were taken and they were given a supplement called DHA. DHA is right here. It's a fish oil supplement that actually seems to help more with memory. There are 2 basic ingredients in fish oil. One is DHA, or docosahexaenoic acid, and the other is EPA, or eicosapentaenoic acid. Now, the EPA seems to help with lowering triglycerides or fats and might also help with decreasing heart risk. The DHA is mainly going to be helping with memory, but it also might help with heart risk. The problem with DHA is it can raise the LDL a bit, which is the bad cholesterol, although this has not been shown to be harmful. More studies will be needed. At any rate, when patients took the DHA, they had 50% less errors on their memory testing. So this was quite significant, and it's important to note that this particular supplement had a positive effect on one's memory. Our second memory tip is the bees are good for the brain. And I gave you this slogan because it'll be easier to remember. Essentially, vitamin B intake slows the rate of brain atrophy or the loss of brain tissue. So what happened in this particular trial is 168 patients were studied who had mild cognitive impairment or MCI. And these patients don't have Alzheimer's but have more than just benign memory deficits. They have impaired memory, which can be a precursor to Alzheimer's disease. Not always, though. At any rate, what was done is supplements of B vitamins were given, folic acid, B12, and vitamin B6. And these particular vitamin interventions essentially lowered something called homocysteine. And homocysteine is a biomarker that predisposes towards Alzheimer's perhaps and strokes. So the B vitamins lowered this. So what happened? What essentially happened is the brain atrophy per year actually decreased with the B vitamins. So here you can see that there's tremendous more space in the ventricles. In other words, there's more brain atrophy. The ventricles are filled with fluid inside, and you can see there's less brain tissue on either side. Whereas here, this patient was on B vitamins. There's less atrophy, there's more brain tissue surrounding the ventricles. So, this is an easy thing to do, taking B complex, which has very little downside, at least I haven't heard of any, and it can have the potential upside of helping memory in people who are having impaired memory. And now we're on to memory tip number 3. Exercise the mind, body, and the stomach. Now, what the heck am I talking about? In order to understand this tip, let's examine the MAPT trial, which is the multi-domain Alzheimer's prevention trial. What a mouthful here. But anyway, what was done is 1,680 elderly patients with subjective memory complaints were studied. Now, none of these patients had Alzheimer's, but they did have some impairment in memory. And what ended up happening is several interventions were instituted. First, DHA was given. That's the part of fish oil that probably helps with memory. And interestingly, fish oil is a fat, and the brain is made up of 90% fat. The other things that were done with these patients is nutrition. Good nutrition was explained to them, physical activity was done, and cognitive exercises were also done. And lo and behold, the outcome showed that these patients improved in their cognition scores. So by doing multiple interventions, these patients were able to improve their memory scores. And what will be interesting is to see over time what happens to these patients with regards to progression to Alzheimer's. So far, the progression to Alzheimer's after 3 years has been lessened significantly. Well, I couldn't resist. I had to give you a bonus memory tip. And the outline here is an outline of the MIND diet. This is a healthy eating style that has been proven to help people with their memory by simply following an easy to understand diet. Basically, this is very similar to the Mediterranean diet. As you can see here, the things that we like patients and families to eat are green vegetables, nuts, berries, particularly blueberries, which are very healthy for memory, beans, whole grains, fish, poultry, olive oil, and a little wine. This is essentially the Mediterranean diet, which is the healthiest diet on the planet. So this can actually help memory, but on the other hand, these particular foods are no-nos. Red meats, margarine, butter stick margarine, cheese, pastries, fried food, fast foods. And the reason is many of these foods contain trans fats. And trans fats are really bad. How do you know when you see a trans fat? You look for the label that says partially hydrogenated or shortening. Either one of those tells you you've got a trans fat, and trans fats increase the incidence of heart disease by 30%, but they also cause problems with memory. In fact, eating fast food can worsen memory by 400%. So this diet, essentially the MIND diet, if it's followed, there is a 50% reduction in Alzheimer's disease. And even if you don't follow it, but kind of follow it, there's a 35% reduction in Alzheimer's disease. Also, this diet, whatever is healthy for the brain, is healthy for the heart, and it's extremely healthy for the heart if you stick to these foods up here. I hope you learned something interesting today. I'm kind of an infomaniac when it comes to medicine, and I like to keep up to date in all the major fields. So, if you want the actual complete report on memory, I've written Memory Secrets, and this can be found on my website, which is www.drlipkis.com. Here you can get my memory secrets, and I've got about 20 more reports from weight loss to heart disease, depression, insomnia, back pain, all the common problems. So, anyway, I will definitely be talking more about memory and other common topics that are very, very helpful to you. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. All the best. Your doctor, Dr. Lipkis.